All right. Welcome to the first inaugural episode of What's Good Cheyenne Real Estate Show. And I'm your host, JP Fluellen, and this is Curt Lackey.
Charmed, I'm sure.
And in this show, we talk about all the things local, national, and what's relevant to you so that you can have a much more informed real estate experience. And maybe you can find yourself a great real estate agent that is well informed to help you make a great buying process.
There you go.
So, we're going to kick this off with some national news. So, according to Yahoo Finance, mortgage rates have declined for the last 3 weeks in a row, giving homebuyers a bigger opportunity to purchase a house. According to one housing expert, the mortgage rates are becoming much more for the consumer. National Association of Realtors chief economist Lawrence Yun recently told Yahoo Finance, and for people who are considering buying, well, someone who may have been priced out at a 7% are now beginning to be very eager as the mortgage rates are approaching 6%. The average rate of a 30-year mortgage fell to 6.32% last week from 6.42% the prior week, according to Freddie Mac. That's down from 7% in early November, but remains well over the 4.67 rate from a year ago. Yun explains that the slowing interest rates are making housing affordable to those who found themselves priced out of the market. According to Yun, last year saw an exponentially low turnout for entry-level home buyers. Only 26% of all buyers were first-time home buyers. According to NAR 2022 profile of home buyers and sellers, during pre-COVID days, 40% was the norm, Yun said. Last year's quickly rising interest rates deterred first-time home buyers, and particularly millennials who found themselves squeezed out of the market, Yun said. According to a recent National Association of Realtor report, baby boomers overtook millennials as the largest generation of home buyers. Boomers now constitute 39% of buyers, and increasing from 29% last year. Millennials, who had been the top buyers since 2014, meanwhile, saw their share fall from 43% to 2021 to 28% last year. From the future perspective, we want a home ownership opportunity for all age groups, Yun said. So the high mortgage rate last year really killed the millennials. The Fed recently forecasted just one more rate hike in 2023. Yun pointed out that increasing apartment building construction will likely lower rents for the coming year, a key component to higher inflation. Additionally, consumer price inflation will decline, and Yun said that may end up the Fed need to raise rates. Yes, we love that.
Yeah,
Yun pointed out that current homeowners who saw 30 to 40% price gains in just a 3-year period can sell their homes and use the proceeds to the next purchase. First-time homebuyers don't have the option. The Federal Reserve clearly needs to understand that when they raise rates, it will cause some harm to the economy, Yun said. But Yun said, even if mortgage rates continue to decrease, millennials will face further challenges as they re-enter the housing market. Millennials did not participate in the market in the last year, but they are aspiring homeowners and among young adults, Yun said, and we need to assure there is adequate supply to meet the future demand. He noted that U.S. only has 1 million homes out in the marketplace, to contrast to the roughly 2 million before COVID. He also questioned whether country has too many regulations targeting home building activity and land use. Amen to that. Yun also asserted that the U.S. should change zoning laws to increase home construction. So we have to really think about bringing more supply to the market, Yun said, because clearly there is a pent-up demand. So what are your thoughts on that, Curt?
Well, it's good news. First of all, that it's starting to get better nationwide, and I think locally here as well. Prices are starting to come down, because if you remember, about a year ago, prices were actually, I don't know what it was. It was a buyer's market. It was a seller's market, because people were paying more over the price. I had told my clients not to do that, because you're just giving the seller a present. But it seemed like everyone was paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over the listing price, which I thought, why? But that's what was going on. So something needed to be done. and then bringing the interest rates up kind of shut that part down. Now we're trying to recover a little bit. And I think the recovery is getting started. So I think it's some good news.
Yeah, I think honestly, when you're looking at it from, the grander scheme of things, obviously high interest rates are bad because people get scared. But at the end of the day, one of the things that we have to realize is that sometimes we just have to move.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of us purchased several years ago, so we do have quite a bit of equity in our homes.
Yeah.
So something that we need to realize too is that just because the posted rate is 7% doesn't mean that's the rate we have to pay. We can always have the option to buy that rate down to a much more reasonable price. Because I remember back when I got into the real estate business, this was back in 2010, the market rate was 7% then. And so it's all relative to what it is that you're actually wanting to do. So if we take the focus much more away from the actual rate itself and what is our goals, focusing on what our goals are. And by kind of turning things back to what's going on in our local market, just because it's happening on a national scale does not necessarily mean that the microeconomics of what's going on is affecting us where we live. So we always have to keep that in mind as well as in the Cheyenne area. We still have quite a bit of new construction on the market. You can always just talk to your local real estate professional, which will be one of us.
Yeah, exactly.
So that way we can visit with you about how we can strategize on getting you the best deals. And ultimately, it's about having really good, constructive, and good conversations to make sure that we can negotiate on your behalf to get you exactly what it is that you need. All right, now moving on to the next article from Forbes magazine. As we move into spring home buying season, housing experts maintain a watchful eye on the economy, which continues to be pulled in all directions by high inflation, steep interest rates, ongoing geopolitical uncertainties, and recession fears, to name a few. However, some promising trends are developing. The median existing home price was down 0.2% to $363,000 in February compared to a year ago, according to the National Association of Realtors. This ends a record streak of 131 consecutive months of year-over-year increases. Total existing home sales jumped 14.5% from January to February, ending a run of 12 consecutive months of declining sales, but we're still down 22.6% from a year ago per NAR. Housing starts also rose 9.8% in February, according to the preliminary data from U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Helping to provide much needed inventory, mortgage rates, meanwhile, have ticketed down in recent weeks, falling to 6.32% for the week ending March 30th, according to Freddie Mac. Declining rates seem to be luring at least some shoppers off the sidelines. Application activity increased as mortgage rates declined for the third straight week, said Joel Kahn, vice president and deputy sheriff of economists at Mortgage Bankers Association, in a press statement. Home price growth has slowed markedly in many parts of the country, which has helped to improve buyers' purchasing power. Yet even as some home price growth slows and sales transactions increase, some experts remain cautiously optimistic the housing market is in recovery. Prices need to drop more and across more markets before a general revival can occur, said Robert Rick, corporate economist at Naval Federal Credit Union, in an email statement. So the good news is that things are tending to stabilize, because at that kind of a growth rate, every first-time home buyer home would be worth $1 million here in about 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's just not sustainable.
No, it wouldn't work at all. And the thing to remember is you talk to your bankers too. We're finding out bankers doing little tricks too. They're buying down a percentage point or everything. So you're not paying those huge monthly payments. So that's a little trick they do that I think is really good and helps a lot of people out too.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3-2-1 buy downs, you've got permanent buy downs, you've got, homeowner incentives, you've got concessions, you've got new construction incentives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just a lot of things out there that are definitely buffering against the trend. And according to this article, I mean, obviously, things are definitely trending in a decline. So if you're thinking about selling, now is definitely a time to still capitalize on what's going on with your home and its equity. Because as we're trending, it could be the difference between 25, 30, $40,000 here in the next 6 months to a year. So
Yeah.
it really just behooves you to reach out to a real estate professional so that they can educate you on what's going on in the local economy to help you capitalize on what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Curtis, what's going on in the local news?
Well, actually, things are looking good locally. From what I'm seeing on here, is first of all, it's saying that Cheyenne is growing at a rate of about 2% per year in population. So they're saying it's going to continue to do that, taking our current population in Cheyenne. They say from 60,000 to 135,000 by the year 2030. So a lot of people coming. Where are they coming from? Well, they're coming from all over, but a lot of them are coming from Colorado, California, Washington, Wisconsin, and Illinois. And there's why? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. What do you think is the reason people are coming to Cheyenne?
Well, I mean, just based on those states, probably because we have a much more conservative outlook on life here.
Mm-hmm.
And probably because it's a slower pace. 2% is not like explosive growth, it's
Mm-hmm.
stable growth. And a lot of people are just, these are the folks that probably should be living in Wyoming anyways. And now
Yeah.
they're just realizing that, hey, you know what, Wyoming's looking more and more appealing. And honestly, because of the national scale of things and just how the bureaucracy in a lot of states have gotten out of control, and the geopolitical climate,
Yeah.
realizing that, what, enough is enough. And they're finally realizing that there's this little place called Wyoming that still has a little bit slower pace of life.
Yeah. And the taxes too. Once people realize Wyoming doesn't have state taxes and taxes are really low. So, and
Yeah.
another thing I was reading is that crime, a lot of times, crime rates have gone up in some of these cities. So what are your chances of being involved in a violent crime in Wyoming? In the whole state of Wyoming, 1 out of 25, and it's even less in Cheyenne. So, I mean, and I've noticed that. I mean, if someone gets ripped off in Cheyenne, that's front page news.
Right.
So, and the other thing I think people like about Cheyenne and Wyoming is that people's attitude is do what you want, just don't bother me. If you have political beliefs, that's fine. Just don't force them on me. I don't care what you think. Just live your life the way you want to. That's the way Wyoming has been for many, many years, and that's another draw for a lot of people coming over. So it's the taxes, the low crime rate, and the culture around Cheyenne as well. So
Well, and everybody has guns here, right?
yeah, I know. Terrorists would never attack Cheyenne Frontier Days because the whole audience would shoot back.
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome.
So you're safe. Even if you don't carry a gun, your friend probably has one because we don't have a concealed carry requirement. Anybody can carry a gun and conceal it in Wyoming. And there's no background check. There's none of that. You just you don't have to have a license to carry a concealed weapon. I know a lot of little old ladies who have guns in their car. My 86-year-old mother has a gun in her car. So, and when you have that, there's a lot more guns out there than you think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's
So
awesome.
if you want to come to Wyoming and commit crimes, I think about that.
That's
You might get a retaliation real quick.
Yeah.
But then some other things so the crime's down. So, and they're asking, well, why is the prices of houses so high in Cheyenne and Wyoming? Well, what they're saying, you and I were talking about this. They say that first of all, the demand for rural areas has gone way up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but we have a lot of city areas too. I mean, you can be inside Cheyenne, Laramie, Casper, and all of them, and you're not even close to being out in a rural area. It doesn't take you long to get there when you're driving someplace. But there's a lot of houses that are not rural that are also in demand, and the prices are up too. But yeah, I've noticed a kind of a demand. A lot of people I was talking to a guy yesterday from, I think, Wisconsin. He loves the idea of coming to Cheyenne and having a place about 30 acres with no one around him. He wants to be very isolated. I said, Unabomber. No, I hope not. But that's one of the things people are coming out for. And they also say, so what's the most important stuff of Cheyenne? Now, this is one thing we are talking about cattle and sheep in Cheyenne, in Wyoming. I see cattle all over the place. There's more cattle in Wyoming than people. So, but I don't see a whole lot of sheep. But what are some of the other draws that we see in Cheyenne? I mean, we have LCCC, we have the factory Pioneer, we also are the state capital, so we have a lot of government jobs here. So there's a lot of draws that bring people to Cheyenne, and of course Laramie is the University of Wyoming, so there's a lot of different areas, and Laramie is only like a 45-minute drive from here if you drive the speed limit. Faster if you are able to go through, but if you try to do that faster, the cops are busy on the interstate of I-25, so keep that in mind if you're driving there. So what are some other things you think brings to the market here in Cheyenne? What are some of the things that bring Cheyenne and all of Wyoming brings people here?
Yeah, I think part of it too is the stability. We're not dependent on any one industry. Wyoming by and large is dependent on minerals and oil and things of that nature. But Cheyenne specifically, we have the air base here.
Yeah,
we have stability here, and a lot of people that are stationed here end up staying because they realize like this is just an unknown, untapped resource.
Yeah.
For stability and good home upbringing, and that's why a lot of people are really attracted to staying here in Cheyenne, as well as we've got a lot of corporate headquarters here. We've got the Taco John's headquarters here. We have a lot of other industries. We've got some of them, like Magpul has their manufacturing here.
Yeah.
There's Eagle Claw, which is coming, which is a fishing lure manufacturing company that's coming to Cheyenne.
Okay.
We also have the missiles are being switched over. So we've got a lot of families that are be moving here for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yep.
As far as that is concerned. There's a lot of other industries that are looking at Cheyenne, Wyoming. We've got a lot of data centers here. Microsoft has a data center here.
Yep.
Actually, I think they have 6 or 7 data centers here.
Our own little Silicon Valley in Wyoming.
Yeah, so there's a lot of incentive for large companies to bring business to Cheyenne because there's a lot of tax incentives and things like that, and to allow for businesses to thrive. So super exciting. Northrop Grumman just opened up an office here to help with the missile switch out stuff.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things going on in Cheyenne that a lot of the public doesn't really realize. And so it's pretty awesome. And then I guess McDonald's just opened up a new location in Cheyenne. Not that that's real news, but if you like your Big Macs, get you
6, I think.
All right, well, that's awesome. Well, let's just jump into the Cheyenne market update.
Okay.
So year to date, in Cheyenne, we've sold 373 homes, averaging 43 days on market.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. And in the month of March, we sold 124 homes. And in April, year to date, 187 current pending homes on the market right now. We've closed 7 this month. So we're averaging just a little over 1 a day. And we have 305 active listings on the market right now. So if you're looking at Cheyenne, we have plenty to choose from. And so don't be afraid of that one house is not on the market, because there's a high likelihood that the house that you're looking for is on the market right now.
Yeah. So,
and then as far as the absorption rate, we do have 2.6 months of inventory. So, which tells me that, again, we're in a pretty good position to continue to not have a housing crisis, and that there's definitely plenty to choose from for the months to come.
Yeah. So when you hear of the national news saying, "Oh, it's going to get worse before it gets better," I don't think so in Wyoming. I think we're on a recovery back up. So if you haven't thought about coming to Cheyenne or Wyoming, I think now's the time to think about it.
Yeah. Fun fact, during the first recession, or the most recent 2008,
I remember
we actually only adjusted by 13% across all types of real estate in Cheyenne. So, which is promising, which if you look at the state we're in now compared to 2008, we're not even close.
No.
It's very interesting that we're, in panic mode right now.
Yeah, I remember I was getting my license back then. People said, "Why do you want to do that? Haven't you heard that the real estate market's done?" No, it's not done. It'll recover.
People always need a place to live.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Curt. Well, if people want to know more about what's going on in your world and they want to learn about the Cheyenne market and looking for an excellent real estate agent to reach out to, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, my number for text or call 307-286-0729, or check out my website. It's just simply, it's easy to remember. I have two of them. CurtSellsWyoming.com. It's Curt with a C, or CurtLackeyHomes.com. You can check out my Facebook too. Facebook, CurtLackeyHomes.com. Join our, if you're watching this, you're probably on one of our YouTube channels. So yeah, check the other one out. If you're on mine, check out JP's. If you're on JP's, check out mine and join it. We have all kinds of fun things.
Awesome. All right. And if you want to know more about what's going on in my world, you can just give me a call, 307-772-1184. And if that doesn't jog your memory, you can just search JP Fluellen. I am on all the Google platforms and all the social platforms. You can just DM me there. And that will conclude another episode of What's Going On, Cheyenne?
All right.
All right. See you guys next time.
All right.